just saw someone's post that said, you're missing someone who knows where you're at and how to contact you.
I can never win. Now they want to put me in anger management because I told my therapist to shut the up and let me talk. Because they keep saying, I'm sorry you went through that. Help me fix it. I don't want to feel this way. What the you mean you saw?
I just turned 32 and I'm single, and I feel like I'm at this point in my life where if a man isn't adding some sort of value to my life, or if he's just going to disrupt my peace, like honestly, I don't want it.
My worth isn't determined by a man saying that I'm worthy.
Yes,
Correct.
it is.
I love how these women scream to the world how broken they are, and then can't figure out why their relationships don't work.
What is something you regret not saying to someone?
Sorry, I cheated on you? I did, and it didn't feel good, and I wouldn't do it again. I really hurt his feelings, and it was super selfish.
If you can go back in time, what would you have said?
I just wouldn't have done it, because I didn't end up with that person. I wouldn't have stayed with the other person either. I just would have done it the right way. I call that other person my getaway car. I could have just gotten away by like my 2 feet.
Wow, you're 50 and decided to ruin your marriage. Why? You're not in your 20s. What options did you think you had other than your now ex-husband, whom you promised to grow old with? Yes, you should regret it, and no, I have no sympathy for you.
Realistic. How much income will your future husband make?
For one thing, I don't want to get married, just for the record. I mean, I want kids, no, but I'm not saying that like I necessarily have to be married to have kids.
You just want to be an incubator?
Because I don't think that necessarily I'm going to be madly in love with the person that I decide to have kids with. I think that's
Holy, that's a scarlet letter.
I'm just not somebody that's like deeply emotional. I can't envision myself like falling in love with a guy.
A wise woman builds her house, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands.
What is a time where you felt that you failed that you learned a valuable lesson from?
That's such a hard question. Getting divorced was a big lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come? What happened?
For a long time, like in your 20s and 30s, like getting married was a big goal, and I got married. And then I realized that that's not everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned through being married was that knowing who you are, knowing your values, and knowing your non-negotiables is so much more important than anything else. It could be more important than the person that you love. And that was a huge lesson for me.
So do you think you didn't know yourself before getting married?
I think I didn't really know how important my values were to me before I got married.
What is true love like, in your opinion?
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Why did it not work, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I wanted to work so much that I was willing to overlook aspects of him and myself that didn't align with my true values. And that's why it didn't work.
They always regret it, only when it's too late. When marriages end, usually some time has passed since the wedding. In fact, the average length of a marriage prior to divorce is 8 years. Divorce comes at a big cost, with couples spending an average of $7,000 to dissolve their union.
It's been 30 minutes. I tried to call him. I tried to text him. I haven't gotten an answer. So I don't really know what to do. Hey.
Hey.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're at the playground right now. Why, what's up?
So I got stood up.
Oh, jeez.
And he kind of said something that really kind of just me up. And I really just kind of want my kids. If maybe you would bring the kids to come and I can just do it with them instead.
Let me call Mom and let her know what's going on, because I think they'd enjoy kayaking, but I need to ask them or let them know. So.
Okay, just let me know.
Alrighty.
All right, thanks.
I'll let you know what's going on.
All right, thank you. All right, bye.
I have to say that her ex-husband is pretty calm, cool, and collected over this call. Because the reality is that she just called her ex-husband because she was rejected. Her solution to that was to reach out to him and emotionally dump and then ask for her kids. I don't think that's okay, and here's my reasoning. It's very similar to the friend zone. The woman gets to emotionally dump, ask for that emotional support. She gets the attention, she gets the niceness. But what does the man get? Does the man get any of his needs or wants or desires of the relationship from her? Nope. And that is what's unfair. Just because you share kids does not mean that you need to emotionally support your ex. But I think that a lot of guys fall into this. And I guess in the early stages, it's somewhat natural that you're trying to figure out the boundaries. That's fine. But women cannot expect men to do this for years because he needs to fill that space with somebody else. He should be putting the efforts towards somebody else. He is not just going to sit in some twisted version of the ex friend zone.
Studies actually show that most women are afraid to speak up about regretting their divorce, as society coddles most men and women to act like divorce is a normal everyday function, which it isn't.
A broke woman who makes no money, struggles to pay her rent and typical basic bills every month, calls men that can't send her to get her nails done a brokey or sassy. Delusion.
I'm crying because my son is leaving. He's going to see his dad. And it
An average woman wants a tall, handsome, wealthy, and attractive man. However, she typically fails to work on and improve her inner beauty, her personality, and character. In the end, what is on the inside ultimately manifests on the outside. And 99% of the time, this results in an entitled and ungrateful person who is self-centered and demands that the man grant her every wish for the rest of his life.
When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, we sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? The therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? So he responded right away and he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. Like I knew that I was ready to leave that day, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy, there was no compassion, there was no like wanting to fight for us, and I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he just kept playing and he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. So it was like within a couple days, he moved out.
Women tell us what they want, and when we respond, they have a problem with our response. Imagine how controlling a woman has to be to even control the response her man gives after she says she wants a divorce. I can't even imagine the life the guy must have lived with such a woman. Good riddance, I'd say.
When I want something, I get it. We used to live in upstate New York, and now we live in Tennessee, and I realized that I wanted something in New York, so I told my husband that he was going to drive me to New York. So it's currently almost 7 a.m., and I just woke up. I'm feeling pretty good, and he's been driving all through the night, so I didn't have to deal with that, and now we're almost to New York, so I can get what I need, and then tomorrow we'll head back to Tennessee. Isn't he the best?
Now that's just crazy. And imagine how self-centered this woman must be to actually talk like this in front of the guy. Imagine the emotional abuse this man must have had to go through every single day. May he be put out of his misery soon. May he find peace alone, or with someone who doesn't take him for granted. May he step out of the bubble of simping he's currently in.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
So here it is. In case you didn't know, and this applies to both men and women, being cheated on is traumatizing as fuck. I was married for 21 years, and cheating was never an issue in our marriage. In fact, that was the least of my worries. I never had to worry about it. I never thought I did. I never had a feeling that I had to worry about it. Never on either part, either side. And then I got divorced, and I come into the dating field, and it is a absolute shit show. And if I had any idea what I was getting myself into, I probably would have stayed married.
Let me guess. You filed for divorce because he was too nice and didn't cause you any drama. Then you got bored. I'll take another guess. She thought everyone in the dating world was having too much fun, and she thought she was missing out.
Worse, and then complaining that they're not getting enough of the man's money. And you're like looking at her like, you dingbat. First of all, nobody wants you out here on the dating market. I hate to break it to you. Like, what? Like, you FOMO'd at 50 and you got kids. Like, don't nobody want you. And then on the other side, it's like, you would have had more money if you stayed with him. Okay? If you file for divorce and you don't get a payout, the only people that are going to be advocating for you and being like, no, you need to take him, sis. Get him for everything. Like, those are some toxic women. Like, probably narcissistic women.
Social conditioning is incredibly harmful and potent. Modern women who fall for it will go to any lengths to protect the beliefs they hold dear. In actuality, they simply combine it with the information they've received from institutions, significant figures, and multinational corporations with little regard for the pleasure of women.
Please, please, my life has been torn upside down. We are a one-income household. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Please don't threaten, and please don't try to call my husband's place of work. You're just gonna get me worse.
Oh.
This is my life. And I never, in a million years, would have thought that this would blow up the way it did.
Well, it did. The community that was supporting this woman's cause, the feminine anger, wanted retribution, wanted revenge on her husband. Please, for the love of God, the earth, everything on it, and possibly your own outcomes, do not post your issues online.
Women are conditioned for instant gratification. They want instant happiness, wealth, fame, luxury, and comfort. They want perfection in men, while they hardly bring anything to the table except perhaps their physical selves.
90% of women do regret for filing up for divorce. Yes, you didn't want to live with this man, but you really deep in your heart were not ready for the divorce and for a breakup. The true reason why this breakup and divorce happened is because you didn't have energy to influence and impact your man. Because deep in our heart, ladies, we want all to change our men to be a better version of themselves. That's all we want. We are wired for that. However, the only way you can influence your man to change is by start working on yourself. Once you change, your man gonna start sooner or later changing and reflecting you. But please know, if you are right now putting all of your effort to change him, it's not gonna go well. He will just resist and you'll have more and more arguments and fights.
You know, it is kind of sad and mostly pathetic that women in their 20s all the way through their 40s still act like children with incontrollable tantrums. Amazing, isn't it? You're considered below them until they're out in the street realizing no one wants them anymore. The grass is only greener over the septic tank. So, do you have any relatable stories to share? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching the Gents. This is a place for men to realize and recognize what's important and how they can live better lives.